We're a little late, Brandon.
Not that late.
It's a day late and a dollar short. Is that?
Oh, I was busy. I had to move in this week. Stressful. The movers, they kind of moved a lot of stuff and then left all the little stuff.
Wait. Movers? You hired movers?
Yeah, I hired movers.
You have like an apartment. Now you're moving into a house. Like, how much stuff do you have?
Well, I was living in a house before, and then I'm moving to another house.
Grab a couple friends.
I'm rich now. That's what rich people do. We don't move our own
Grab
stuff.
movers. Like, I don't.
It was such a weird thing. Like, I just have a bunch of random stuff that I don't want. So pretty much what I want to do is just throw everything away and just start brand new. Like new.
You should have done that before you moved everything into the house.
It kind of is. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to rent a big dumpster and just toss everything. But some of the stuff I'm going to sell, some of the stuff I'm going to donate. So I just moved it over just because they have the truck and I don't. And then we were moving and they just kind of decided, they're like, all right, anything else you want to throw on the truck? And I'm looking around and the whole house is still full of stuff. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, all right, we're heading over. And then they just decided they were done. Didn't put my bed together. I don't know if that's what movers do. I never had movers before.
So I don't have movers either, but I've heard bad things about all movers always.
They just kind of decided
we're good.
We're done. And I'm like, okay. So I still have a lot of cleaning to do at the old place, a lot of trash, a lot of donation. I have so much work to do with the house. So guys, I'm sorry. That's why we were a day late. Because my landlord is no, now I'm going to start running showings. And I'm like, well, there's a bomb that went off in the middle of the house. So taking care of all that.
Well, there you have it. What'd you think? Did you watch Super Bowl? Did you lose all your money on the Super Bowl?
No, I made money.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you bet on the Super Bowl? Just random?
Chiefs. When they were down at halftime, I bet the +7 spread. And then towards the end of the game, I got a -2.5 spread. And I was like, well, if they win, they're going to have to kick a field goal. It was a tie game. So that's pretty much just money line. And it was a lot of points better. So I just kept nailing those. And then
nice.
I did really well.
I didn't bet anything on the game at all. I didn't have any skin in the game. And I thought I wanted the Eagles to win. But then as it was going on, I felt myself cheering for the Chiefs all the time. I was like, yeah, Mahomes landed that. Oh, Mahomes, and then every time the Eagles would do something.
He's just a treat to watch. He's so good.
He is, man. And then he, hurt hhis ankle and came back better. It was he played better with a hurt ankle than he did beforehand. And just these little things, man. But it was good watching Mahomes win. It was good watching the Chiefs win. I mean, I don't really care either way, but that was fun. How'd you do on the last card betting?
Oh, bad. Yeah.
Really?
That was rough.
What killed it?
A million things. I mean, a million things. It was just a rough card.
It was so. I thought the breakdowns that we did were good, were realistic, not always the outcome that happens, and that's fighting. We can break a fight down. We're talking about the Bukakis fight with Tyson Pedro. We broke Bukakis down perfectly because Tyson Pedro was dead tired after 3 minutes, and Bukakis just didn't go in for the kill. He could have gone in for the kill. But what the hell happened to Tyson Pedro? Adrenaline dump in his home country or
and
what?
Honestly, he doesn't even throw his hands either. He's all kicks.
Yes, and he looked bad. He looked bad.
He doesn't even have to do a lot to beat Modestus either. Literally just walking forward like he was doing.
Yeah.
And if he would have thrown a jab or a right hand or anything, he didn't have to do much. So the read, I don't know what I can say about the read. Maybe we missed something. I thought he was better than that.
Well,
because he didn't even have to do much.
I expected him to come out swinging hands and kicks early in the fight, which if they'd adrenalined him out, whatever, because he gets a knockout or he hurts him. But he came out swinging and then wrestling like a madman, and that killed him. And then he was just there after 3 minutes. That was a weird one. I don't know what.
Yeah, the wrestling, and then I was like, oh, maybe he's gonna wrestle the whole time.
Yeah,
but he was dead tired and let him up to not throw.
The other one that I thought was weird was Zuba.
I didn't get to see it.
I thought Zuba won. Clearly, I thought he won that fight. That said, I believe I said on the breakdown that I wouldn't go a prop because Zuba sometimes kind of just plays with his food a little bit. I thought he won that fight. I really did. So the judges gave it to Elder, whatever the hell his name is, but Elvis, whatever. But man, I really thought Zuba won that fight. And I remember the commentators, they're like, hey, Zuba won that fight. Everybody was like, dude, he won that fight. That was not
Sucks.
That was not. And then, Volk, that was the other one. I thought Volk was going to pick him apart. I thought it was a close fight.
It was a lot closer in the striking than I thought.
It was Makhachev's striking closed the distance on Volk way better than I thought, and Volk's wrestling closed the distance on Makhachev's wrestling way better than I thought.
Who did you score for?
I thought that they were going to give it to Makhachev, and I thought Makhachev probably won it. I think there is a case for Volk to have won. I think it was the second round that I was thinking, and that was kind of the round in question. I thought Volk won round 3, and I thought Volk won round 5, clearly, of course. Makhachev clearly round 4. I thought Volk won round 3, and then Makhachev won round 1. And then round 2, I believe it was round 2. I could be getting round 2 and round 3 mixed up. But I thought that Volk could have gotten a hometown decision, and that it wouldn't have been the worst decision I've ever seen. I think it was like, all right, like, maybe he gets it. He didn't get it. I thought I probably would have given it to Makhachev, but I thought it was a very close call on that. And a lot of people online thought Volk won. I don't think if you gave that fight to either person that it was a robbery. I thought it was so close.
Yeah, I agree too. Honestly, I thought the same. I had it 3-2 for Makhachev. I thought Volk was winning that entire second round because he dropped him at first and did all the good work, but then he got dropped right at the end. So then I was like, oh, now it's back to Makhachev's round because he actually, I thought it was close. I thought it was a great fight. I thought Volkanovski is as good as we think he is. A lot of people were like, oh, the Makhachev inside the distance is the lock of the card. It's the easiest play. And I'm like, this is the best guy in the...
Some of the best 2 guys who are probably out there right now. And to think that either of them is just going to steamroll the other one is just kind of comical. So, I mean, both of them are phenomenal. So I've got 2 things. One, why can't people get out of body triangles? You guys, body triangles are a myth. Show up at my gym for 4 minutes and I'll show you how to get out of a body triangle that does not involve going to the side of the lock, hooking the leg and extending it and hoping somebody taps from an ankle lock. That's a joke. I've said it 1,000 times. If somebody is that good at that level and they're body triangling people, you're not putting them on that side and getting that ankle lock. And even if you do put them on that side for the ankle lock, most people's ankles, if they're that good at it, aren't even going to be affected. It is the body triangle's a myth, people. It's a freaking myth. Man. And then the other thing was getting off of the cage. I think it was in one of the rounds, might have been round 1, where standing, Makhachev had Volk's back and wasn't doing anything with it, but was just hanging on his back. And Volk was trying to open the hands instead of just swimming backwards and facing him or digging an underhook. You're not going to open those hands in what we call a S grip well with gloves on. I mean, you have a gable grip, you have a bar grip, whatever, you can do it, but with that S grip, you can peel the hands like Velcro, but a lot of times when they have that S grip, their arms are gonna be outstretched. Just dig an underhook, get underneath, turn, and go. I just those 2 things, I think, on a technical level, the whole world of MMA is doing wrong. And I think if Volk knew those 2 little details, holler at me, Volk. You want to win the rematch? Holler. Those 2 little details that are just like, how is this stuff not being addressed this far in the sport? So, and then last, I'll say on the Makhachev Volk thing, there are rumors that Makhachev got an IV. What do you think of that?
Well, we already talked about that. You said that, I don't know if that's like breaking or whatever, but the fighter's getting IVs all the time.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's a non-issue. I think if Makhachev did get an IV, I mean, look, rules are rules, I get it, but that is the least offensive rule break I think there is on the planet, getting an IV, so whatever. I mean, it's pretty ubiquitous throughout the sport at this point. Volk probably got an IV too. He just didn't get called out on it.
I doubt he had to get one. He moved up a weight
class. That's true. And then on the good side of some calls, we called Randy Brown to a freaking T, or JDM beating the Randy Brown to a T. Yair. I mean, that was kind of. I mean, I was surprised that line was so good. Close. Yeah, I mean, that was a. If you bet Yair, that was an easy one, and you killed it with Tafa over Porter. Yeah. I didn't watch film on that, and I thought Porter just was going to do better than he was, and Tafa just murdered him. So.
Yeah, because it's kind of how I envisioned the fight going. Everyone kind of thought this was going to be a dragged out fight.
Point your mic up in your mouth. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Everyone called a directional mic.
Mm-hmm. Everyone kind of thought it was going to be a drag out fight, and I'm like, I don't know. Tafa's got heavy hips. He's got a lot of power, and Porter just runs in. I was like, I'm going to stick with my bet. And actually, you know what? I had a bet on Kulabau, I think I said that on the podcast, is I had a bet on Culibao and I was going to hedge out on Melsick, but by the time the fight came, I was like, I'm just going to ride it out with Culibao.
I like the Culibao fight.
And he won, and he looked great.
Yeah, and a lot of people were on Melsick on that one, and I was like, dude, I thought Culibao's movement and footwork were going to be enough. I didn't see the finish coming that way. I don't know if anybody did. I don't think Culibao did, but good for him, man. Well, let's get into this week's card, which is not overly inspiring. Before we do, guys, please like our video on YouTube if you're not even on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, and then please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then also subscribe via Spotify or wherever you listen to this stuff too. And come check out the Discord. We're always talking. I was actually looking at the Discord, and we have so much other stuff on there besides just UFC fights. I mean, we've got every MMA fight there is, threads on it, PFL, BKFC, Fury. We've got all of that stuff. We've got NFL. We've got NBA. We've got every sport, everything that you can imagine. There's probably bets on there with who's going to be the next president.
And we're going to right the ship, guys. For those of you guys that joined the Discord and it's had a little bit of a rough stretch, stick with us. We're going to right the ship. It's been a couple tough ones, but we'll get back on it.
I actually thought my picks I threw in the Discord were solid. I was actually wrong on my money lines. I did really well. This one that killed me was the over and the unders. Like, that was actually a weird one with this fight. Malarkey and Prado going the distance.
Yeah, but everybody was on the under 2.5 there, and then, it went over.
Yeah, like, who would have thought that? Loma and Elise Reed going as fast as it did. I thought that was going to be, it's a women's fight, over 1.5. I mean, you don't even have to go the distance, but over 1.5, and that was crazy. I mean, it's just the overs and unders were weird.
A lot of overs,
and but yeah, and Malarkey was another one. We said, look, Malarkey's going to take this dude down. The guy's not going to do it. But anyway, and then also the last thing before we get into the card, you guys need to stop just listening to us at all. We have no idea what we're doing. You guys have got to go check out Sadiq Yusuf's Instagram. Have you seen that?
Yeah, they're funny.
Oh my gosh. I just came on to Sadiq Yusuf's, go to his Instagram. I don't even know, I think Super Sadiq or something like that. There's some of the funniest MMA breakdowns I've ever seen. He goes fight to fight through it. I like, not only am I sharing those, I'm like, everybody I encounter who likes MMA, I'm like, here, you got to watch this. And it's like a 3 or 4 minute thing. Everyone's like, I'm like, sit down and watch the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Those are really, really funny. We'll have to have him on, break down some fights or something with us soon.
It'll be a really quick breakdown, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, he'll just tell you, make fun of somebody's name, which I'm all about. Like, let's go for it. All right. Secondly, lastly, millionthly, we got a DM from Tyra about coming over and training with us while he's in America.
Wow.
Which I thought you might enjoy.
I would love to go train with them.
Yeah, it's something, we got a Fight Ready DM, and he's coming to America, wanted to get some training in, so we'll have to touch base and do some stuff with that, but he's been a friend to your pockets lately. If you guys watch the podcast, because Tyra's
sub every time.
Yeah, Tyra's been doing awesome. So let's get into this card. Who is it? Andrade
and Blanchfield.
Who is it supposed to be? Blanchfield and
Tyler Santos.
Yeah. Which it's weird that Blanchfield and Tyler Santos would headline a card anyway.
The whole card is weird. So let's get into it. Let's not spend a lot of time here.
Yeah, let's go. Let's ride.
First up, we have Juancamilo Ronderos versus Clayton Carpenter.
Do you want to go? You've known Clayton for a while.
Yeah,
we know Clayton. He's a local boy.
Yeah, I've known Clayton for a long time. So, I'll lead this one off. I guess I'll tell a little story. When I was, how old was I? 15 at the time. I was competing as a white belt here in Arizona, and I was really good white belt at the time. I was winning every tournament, so my coach put me against the highest level kids belts, the green belts. Up a weight class, I actually went against Jake Watson, who's now a black belt, and he's huge, and I was tiny. I ended up losing every match that day. I lost all the green belts, and I was so pissed off. And I remember watching this kid who was a blue belt at the time, but he was only my age. He was 15 or maybe younger, but he had a blue belt already, which you don't get your blue belt until 16.
16, yeah.
And he cleared out the kids division. Boom, boom. Like 2 Naga belts, big old things. And then I remember, like, who the hell is this kid? And then I, looked over, and then he was competing against the adults. Boom, got 2 more big old Naga belts. So he cleared out kids division and adults division.
At 15.
At 15.
15 to 16, whatever it was.
Yeah, and ended up being Clayton Carpenter. So, yeah, I've known Clayton for a long time. I never got to train with Clayton. I've been in the same tournaments with him a lot of times for IBJJF. So, basically, I've come up with Clayton a lot. This fight is pretty linear to me. Unless Juancamilo has magically gotten years' worth of experience of striking and, honestly, wrestling and jiu-jitsu within this couple years that he's taken off, I just can't see it. He's a bit of an ape. He honestly reminds me from last week of Shameless Don Shanis, where he kind of just swings.
100%.
Yeah, just swings wild overhands and just rushes forward to pin you on the cage, but kind of gets taken down easy, doesn't have great wrestling, falls over. Honestly, probably worse than Don. Maybe.
Yeah, I would say though. I would say worse than Don.
Yeah, and he's only got 5 fights, so it's not like this style's working for him. I think he won a fight with Eric Shelton. I thought he lost. He got his ass kicked. Just kind of runs and puts his head forward, and I think there's a lot of people that will beat Clayton in the UFC. I just don't think it's this kid. Clayton's good enough, and this is going to be in his realm, in his zone. That kid rushing at him, Clayton's going to catch him with uppercuts. His striking can be pretty clean sometimes. He's short like Clayton. He's not, 5'7" like the last kid was. And then the kid can't wrestle. And Clayton could be better, but he's a better wrestler than this kid. So this is a tee-up spot for Clayton. I love him here.
100%. Looking at whatever the hell is Juancamilo, whatever. He's 4-1. He lost. Who is it? Who did he lose to in the UFC?
David Dvorak.
David Dvorak, yeah. Who just starched him. But then, so you're looking at him like, all right, this guy's getting killed. And then he has an Eric Shelton win. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, Eric Shelton win is a solid, go at things.
Yeah.
But then you watch the fight and you're like,
how did he win this?
How do you win this? He looks horrible. And then the other thing that I like that you said is, well, actually, hold on. Before we get to Clayton, Juancamilo, is that even his name? I don't even know. Like names, I don't know names. But anyway, whoever Clayton's opponent is, he just throws these flurry punches, and they're like an inch away. Like, he's not even reaching or going. Like, I mean, it's like me trying to punch you right here, but not even actually trying to punch you. It's like
and
me
he's southpaw
shadowboxing
with no distance.
It's unreal. His wrestling is a football tackle, but not even a good one. He just rushes you to the cage. I really don't know how he's ever won a fight. He's tough and he has good cardio. I mean, we'll
that's
give
him
kind
that.
of it.
5 rounds is good.
That's it. Clayton on the other side, like you said, a lot of people are going to beat. Well, who knows? If Clayton were to fight a lot of people right now, a lot of people would beat Clayton. As he progresses, who knows? Maybe he will fill the holes.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that Clayton does on a striking level, he moves well and he sees stuff. He's very short and he does this like that kind of wide stance and moving around. Nothing comes straight down the middle. Even like a cross is looping, jabs kind of loop. Nothing is down the middle. And then he just throws those kind of weird high kicks that aren't good high kicks. So just, he wings them and they're there. He's got a decent awareness of his striking, and he's comfortable striking. He's not freaking out about it. He just has some technical holes there.
He's gotten much better over the years because he used to freak out a lot when he got hit.
Yep, and it's not bad at all. He's very comfortable striking. He's tough as nails. The guys at the lab are always tough. They're always in shape. They're always conditioned, and he has that. The striking leaves a little bit to be desired on a higher level, but today, with this weekend, it should be fine. And then the other thing is I think his weakest area is actually his offensive wrestling.
Yeah.
He will get some blast doubles and he'll get some stuff against people who aren't really good at chain wrestling. But his offensive wrestling is not great, which isn't going to matter here. But later as he progresses, maybe he ends up pushing people against a fence and maybe he starts winning some fights that way. But because I don't think he's going to take the better wrestlers down.
Also, that last fight was a little tougher for him because you just had like a tall, the guy was just tall, that tall defense. I'm 5'7", you're 5'4"
Yep.
I'm just going to be tall. And that's sometimes hard to take down too.
I like Clayton here. I like the money line. I don't know about a prop, anything finishing inside. We saw that kind of killed us last time anyway. And the guy is tough, so it wouldn't surprise me to see this go 3 rounds, especially at the 125 weight class. So I'm going Clayton Carpenter here. I don't even know if I have an over or under because I could see Clayton winning by submission, or I could see him kind of TKO on it, or run it through. Go easy, go on the money line, go on Clayton.
Okay, next up we have AJ Fletcher and Themba Gorimbo.
Man, so AJ Fletcher we've talked about a couple times, and he's good. He's good. He's almost good everywhere. AJ Fletcher's biggest issue is he's 5'0" in a 6-foot weight class. All right, like he's just so short.
It says he's 5'10".
Dude, yeah, and I'm 6'4". Like he might actually be 5'10". Well, I've stood next to him. I've seen him. We've been in the same locker rooms before, in the same training rooms before. I say I'm 5'10". I'm actually a little bit taller than 5'10". I think he's a little bit shorter than me, so maybe he is 5'10", maybe 5'9.5". So I don't think it's too far off.
Okay.
But his reach is
Little baby arms.
I think it's 68 inches, something like that. That's tiny. So he moves well. His striking is good. It's fine. I mean, it's not amazing, don't get me wrong, but it's fine. It's decent everywhere. But he's just so short that he doesn't know how to use it. And then he doesn't know how to crowd and mix up his shots to disguise his striking, or mix up his striking to disguise his shots. Kind of Michael Chandler-ish or something, you know, who can really kind of go low, go high, back and forth. And he's got a good double leg, good wrestling, but he isn't great at keeping people there. You know, he's fine. He's decent. And then we see on the other side, what is it, Themba or Thembo?
Yeah, Themba.
Themba, who, you know, I'm watching film on him, and they're talking about he's been trying to get Sean Shelby to get him in the UFC, and he's trying to make his mark. He's trying to be champion. He might be the worst fighter I've seen in the last year or two enter the UFC. Can you think of somebody, skill set wise, on a technical level, worse than him, like coming in at anything under heavyweight?
Jerome Rivera maybe, but
man, he's really bad.
He's bad. Yeah,
his hands, he just throw. I mean, there's zero semblance of striking technical abilities whatsoever. His wrestling is non-existent. He has good cardio. He actually has good cardio, and he's fast. All right, so those are two things. And then he does have adequate 1996 jiu-jitsu from his back, like very basic.
Triangle armbar series.
If AJ Fletcher doesn't get triangled from the bottom, or the only other way that AJ Fletcher loses this is if he like hurts him and rocks him, and then just can't finish him and adrenalines himself out. But I love AJ Fletcher here to the moon, every which way you can love. He's getting his first win here.
Yeah, I'm with you 1,000%. I think this is one of the best spots on the card. I love AJ Fletcher. The last fight, so I actually bet on Themba in Fury when he fought the dying old Brazilian.
Oh my gosh.
He couldn't finish that guy.
Couldn't do anything to this dude. He just held him.
Yeah. And you see his body, you're like, man, this guy has to be good. He's long. He looks athletic. He looks like, you know, he wears the, for some reason when people wear the ankle braces, I'm like, man, this guy's got to be a great kickboxer.
Oh, really? See, I always think the opposite. I always think whenever I see an ankle brace, I think fraud. If you come into a fight with tie shorts and or ankle braces, I'm like, oh, this dude's getting starched right here. That's my kind of go-to.
Yeah, he could barely beat that guy. And then the fight right before that, all it's going to take, you know, AJ's biggest thing is obviously the cardio. That's where everyone is bagged on him. But he fought really hard in third round. He got a takedown on Semmelsberger. He had a cardio death against Angelusa, but man, Lusa can push a pace. He even pushed a pace against JDM. Like, I think Lusa's
and AJ almost finished him. I think adrenaline himself out, swinging a couple times.
Yeah. So honestly, he needs one takedown per round here to win. That guy's not getting up off his back. AJ is good enough, and he's patient enough on the feet. People say AJ's an ape. I don't really think so. I think he's pretty.
I don't think so at all. I just don't think he has the skill set needed. I think he has the IQ, and he knows what he wants to do. He just has those little bitty baby arms and bad lungs. Yeah.
But I think he's getting his first win. I think this is a great spot for him. I'm confused why Themba is in the UFC, skipping contender, skipping everything else. But I love AJ here.
Yeah. All right, what do we got next?
All right, next up, we have Nazim, Sadykhov, and Evan Elder.
I got to remember, because we have Nazim Sadykhov, and then there's another very European, Chechen-sounding name coming up later. So talk about these really quickly. Let me see your phone. I got to look at this guy really quickly to see which one Nazim is. All right, go on this one.
Well, this is actually going to be a closer fight to me than I think. I love Nazim. I love his striking. I think he does a million things well. I love his camp. I love everything about Nazim. Elder is not as good of a striker. He's a southpaw. He throws a lot of things without purpose or reason. He will kind of just throw a middle kick and just to see what happens. But he's not setting things up. He's not setting traps like Nazim is. I would lean Nazim here. I don't have a big conviction one way or the other on this one. I would lean Nazim just for being a cleaner, better striker. But I think Evan Elder can make this fight a lot closer than we think it will be just by grappling and being in there. Okay, yeah,
I actually like both of these guys. I had to just refresh myself on who Nazim was and Evan Elder because I just the names don't ring a bell. Evan Elder took that short notice fight against Parsons up a weight class at 170 on I think it was like 5 days notice or something like that. And he actually looked really good. He fought well. He did well. He's got a really nice left middle kick. And he was outsized clearly, but he had some decent wrestling. He made some wrestling work, got, flipped over and turned over and stuff like that, swept. But even in the third round, he found a takedown. He just kind of death-gassed. And I think a lot of that was adrenaline and going up a weight class and really not being ready for the UFC, but fighting in the UFC. I actually like him. I think him going down a weight class is going to be good, back to his normal weight at 155. I actually really like him. And then Nazim, that kid's striking is clean. It is clean. It is clean. He's really fast. I would say, probably biggest area of weakness is his defensive wrestling. He will get taken down, but he knows to get back up. He knows not to stay there, and he pops back up well. But he has really good cardio as well. Nazim's cardio is solid. Like him and Merab Dvalishvili must be best friends or something because he is really fast. He's really dynamic. He presses the pace, and he's able to keep that pace like crazy. I think this is actually a really close fight, and I think people are probably assuming Elder is just going to get starched here because of his last performance. Mm-hmm. But I actually like him. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Nazim is going to win. I think speed and cardio are going to be the key here.
And honestly, the offensive wrestling, if Nazim needs it.
I haven't really seen his offensive wrestling that much, just his striking and his defensive wrestling. And, trains with Longo and those guys up there with Sarah. So, solid camp. Elder's been over at Kill Cliff for quite a while now. But, I love those guys in terms of trainers and coaches. I think they're some of the best. There's just too many people there right now. There's too many people, and too many people are flooding there. And we're starting to see kind of it's like a 50% win rate at this point. Look at the Bellator. We saw DC lose. We saw, I think they had 3 or 4 guys there. We had the draw. DC lost, and then they might have had another loss. I forget what it was. But
I can't remember.
Anyway, phenomenal coaches. I just don't think they have the bandwidth for the amount of guys that they have. But anyway, I lean Nazim. I like both these guys. I hope Elder bounces back and finds a win after this.
All right. So then next up, we have Ovince St. Preux and Philipe Lins.
Okay, I have to start on this one.
Well, it's your turn anyway. So
this isn't even a fight. Like, that's not what is OSP doing? He stopped fighting years ago. He stands there, he backs up, he moves away, he front kicks. What is that? Like, all Philipe Lins has to do is something, and he wins this fight. Like, I don't know how OSP wins. He doesn't even look like he's trying anymore. His output is so low. His front kicks, what are you going to win a fight with just some front kicks? I really don't see how he wins this. I'm Philipe Lins all the way and I'm not huge on Philipe Lins. I actually think OSP, if he wanted to wrestle him, he could. If he actually gets into a firefight and just starts swinging, he could hurt him. The dude just doesn't do anything.
I kind of feel like that's what's going to happen. I like watching this on tape. The tape tells me Philipe Lins by a mile. He's just more active. I love his striking. For some reason, he parries everything. He just parries and fires back, and his range is so good. His distance management's so good. And then we saw the wrestling look from him last time, which was great to tire out
Marcin Prachnio. Yeah.
But I love Philipe Lins, and he's the young man between the two. He's 37 to 39. For some reason, and I can't get it out of my head, he got hit one time in the pocket when he was crashing in, and I just see, like, for some reason, I have this bad feeling that OSP just, boom, check left hooks him. And
say that 5 times fast.
I know, and puts him out. I think on paper and on film and everything else is Philipe Lins by a mile. I just have a weird feeling about that.
It's like a Devin Clark thing, with Daun Jung, where it's like, man, Daun Jung does everything well.
Yeah.
And then you just have these weird performances like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to choose Philipe Lins because everything else is telling me that. Again, just a weird feeling. I don't know.
I could see it. It's crazier things. But the thing is with those old people, it's not like he's young and then he had a bad performance or this and that. Once you get old, there's just that drive. Like you just don't, it doesn't just miraculously come back. Look at Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah, that's
like,
a good point.
It doesn't just come back like that desire. So I don't know. I can't. I either say it's Philipe Lins or you just stay away from it because you cannot bet on OSP at this point to.
I think there's a few of those on this card where you're going to have to just stay away. Which brings me to the next one. So next up we have Jamall Emmers and Khusein Askhabov.
Give us your thoughts on it. And actually, before we get to this, the same person that told me the fight for Corrales was a bad fight on YouTube the other day on the comments, and it was Choi something or another, I forget. It's super respectful, so it wasn't a disrespectful thing at all. It was just like, hey, it was a bad fight for Corrales. This guy's really good against a Dagestani kid. You know, that whole scenario. I went over it last week. He posted, hey, do you think that guy is another Corrales situation where, and I don't think these are even the same fighters, so I was kind of confused on that a little bit. So I'm curious to hear your thought, just in terms of his wrestling and style.
You're
and
saying
everything.
the Russians, are they the same fighter?
Yeah, he was saying like, does Emmers defend all of the takedowns like Corrales did? Like it's going to be that same type of fight?
Yeah, I don't think so. The other guy was a dag wrestler. This guy seems to be a lot more of a striker.
Exactly. That was my point. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And
this guy to me. So this guy, he's really interesting. So looking at this one, I really want to love Jamall Emmers here. Like this really seems like the great spot for Jamall Emmers. I think Jamall Emmers is severely underrated for how good he actually is. His grappling is really, really solid. He can wrestle his ass off. He's got a crazy body, and he's just so fast twitch, and his athleticism and good cardio. Like, he checks almost every single box. He just was an idiot playing footsies with Sabatini last time, and honestly had a pretty good toe hold.
And was good. Actually was doing really well up in just, hey, he got caught, dropped him, mounted him. Like,
God,
that was
his
solid.
Body shots are great.
Yep.
I love a lot about Jamall Emmers. And then, you flip to the other side, this guy, Askhabov, two things, and you guys can tell me if this is kind of right. He's like a dollar store Gadzi Rabadanov to me. Like, he's not as good of a wrestler and not as good of a striker and not as good of an overall MMA fighter. He doesn't put it together as well. But he kind of does everything decent. He can wrestle a little bit, strike a little bit. But watching his tape, and it's old tape because it's 2020.
That's the hard thing, is trying to find the newest one or two fights was hard. The most recent tape that we could find was probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2020, 2019. That's the last time he's fought. Yep. He's taken 3 years off. He comes out way fast. Like, so fast that it's hard to keep that pace. And not only that, the film that we have, he's fighting guys who are not worthy. They're not on the same level. They're not, they're the Brazilians that are good to play guard and get taken down. His tape to me is not, it's not bad, but it's not, we don't get to see this extended out for 3 rounds of dominance, 3 rounds of that against a guy who can wrestle like Jamall Emmers, who's fast twitch like Jamall Emmers, right? He's kind of beating up these. And
Emmers, I believe, from his Instagram, is now up at Alpha Male.
Yeah, he is.
Which is a good move for him to get some better, more technical training.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I love the camp. I love Jamall in general. Like, if I had to choose a dog, it would be Jamall Emmers, I think, on this card.
Is he a dog right now?
Yeah.
What are the odds? I think it's like plus 150 when I saw it.
Yeah, I think that's
something.
It's around that.
Yep.
That area. But the thing that I just don't want to get in front of this random Russian that's training at Tiger Muay Thai, Bang Tao, and ATT, this random Russian that they're bringing in off the street. It's hard for me to want to put a bet on Jamall Emmers and get in front of that train. He's 23-0. Whether he's beating cans or good guys, he's never lost a fight, doesn't know how to lose. I think Jamal is 10 times the fighter he's ever fought before. Way better than anybody he's ever fought. But and honestly, I don't love his style, how fast he comes out. It's going to be 3 years off, and now he's jumping right to the UFC. So many things go against him. I just don't want to put a large sum of money against this unknown Russian force that I have no idea about.
Yeah. He is, if we want to get technical, I believe he's Chechen, which is, part of Russia. Yes. So you have Russia, and then in the southern Caucasus, you've got Chechnya and Dagestan kind of next to each other. And those, I believe, border Georgia to the north, I think. My geography is a little off. But You said it. The thing that worries me is his Akman, whatever his name is what we don't know. What has he been up to the last couple of years? The tape that we have, the last few fights that we have seen of his, I am very underwhelmed by his offensive wrestling. He has shot against Brazilians, and they're stuffing his shots, and this is like, these are bad shots, and they're kind of defending, and eventually he will get them down, but it's not great. And then at one point he did jump to a guillotine, which I like.
He finished it. It was good.
It was. I was just gonna say it was a good guillotine. He finished it. He has a good sense of urgency. He knows how to win fights. I like what I've seen of him.
He also won a fight by heel hook, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. This is the other Godzi Omarararov, and I was like, oh, he won by knee bar. He's a fake Russian. And then I was like, oh, heel hooks. This guy's got a couple, but the heel hook was actually really beautiful.
I didn't see it. What was the setup on it?
He took the guy down, was on top. This is like day one stuff. Was in the guard and then dropped to the heel hook. So it's like horrible idea. But
he got it.
It was a very tight, very clean heel hook. Like you can tell he actually knows leg locks. And Jamal Emmers just so happened to lose by heel hook last time out.
It's you said it with Jamal. He checks all of the boxes. The thing that Jamal doesn't check is the technical coaching. And if you look at his striking, it's pretty good, but it's loose. His hands kind of get a little bit low. His punches are a little sloppy. When people press him, he gets out of his stance. He kind of floats around. He's off balance. He looks like Bambi a little bit in terms of like where his feet are and being ready and being in a position. And that is the type of stuff that has gotten him in trouble. It was, I think it was Julian Arosa or one of those guys who he was beating and then got knocked out on Contender Series because he just, if you make it's not who's better, it's who messes up first. We say that all the time. Who's going to make more mistakes? And if you make mistakes again and again and again and again, dropping your hands, being off balance, and somebody throws, you're coin tossing everything. And I like Jamal Emmers here as a dog, but again, I don't know. If you love one of these guys, I think bet them because I don't think it's a bad bet. There's just so much unknown about his opponent that it worries me. But he kind of jumps around. I saw him in one of his fights come out with an alpha male shirt. So the alpha male guys know about this guy. And now Jamal Emmers is training up at alpha male.
Oh.
So yeah, he came out to a couple of fights ago. He was wearing a Team Alpha Male sweatshirt. And so these guys probably know him. Look, the guy's good. He's 23-0. You don't get to 23-0 with nothing. He's fast. His striking is good.
The leg kicks look like they're going to be the biggest thing to me.
The leg kicks, yeah.
This guy throws a lot of leg kicks.
A lot of leg kicks, and Jamal Emmers gets kicked by leg kicks.
Yep.
We saw it. But Jamal Emmers did a beautiful job defending Giga Chikadze's striking and not taking a lot of damage from somebody at that level. So, yeah, I think it's either Jamal Emmers on this or just stay away from it.
I might actually go the other way.
Yeah?
I'm going to go Khusein just because I want to get on this trend. These random people that have been signed, like i.e. Natalia Silva.
Yep. They come in and
somebody knows something, and that's all I'm saying. Somebody knows something. All right, next up we have Lina Lansberg and Mayra Bueno Silva.
Am I up or are you up?
You're up.
Okay. Mayra Bueno Silva she's the armbar queen, for one. She's throwing armbars up. She's tough, man. She's tough. She moves forward. She swings bombs. She is not afraid of a good fight. Decent in the clinch. Good back jiu-jitsu, throwing armbars and stuff. Very limited wrestling. So you've got that. Lina Lansberg on the other side, as the great Brandon Olivas would say, is a big nothing burger. She will try to clinch you and then elbow you in the clinch.
That's something.
That is literally her only strategy. Like from the outside, there's nothing. You put her on her back, she lays there like a turtle. She will clinch you and try to push you up against a fence, and then she will try to elbow you. I just don't think that is a way to win this fight. I don't think she's going to knock Bueno Silva out like that. I think Mayra Bueno Silva just has, her volume is too high. She throws punches. She'll throw kicks. She does all of these other things that all of the other fighters on the planet do. But and Lina Lansberg or whatever, Lina will try to clinch you and then elbow you. And I can't get behind that. I think Bueno Silva is tough. I think she's good. I think the only way that she loses this is if she gets impatient and tries to force a ground game like jumping guard, and then she can't pull the armbar.
Yeah. This fight to me is kind of unbettable. I don't know where to go with this. Does she finish Lina? Because a lot of times she plays with her food too. She'll just run around screaming. Does she take it to decision? Does she lose? Like the odds are unplayable for me here, and I can't quite get a grasp on how she wins.
Yeah.
Playing unders and inside the distance on women's fights is not always the most appealing to me.
I like Bueno Silva for the win though. I think.
Yeah, but she's minus 500. So.
Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing palpable about that.
Yeah.
And we saw that last week with Sadykhov, who is minus 600, and unless you're playing a weird prop or something, it's not really worth that.
Squeeze. Yep. All right, so I guess we're both on MBS. And MBS also married to my wife. Also, the little jiu-jitsu lore here. Okay, do you want to get some drama?
I want some lore.
It's a little drama.
I love drama.
You know the one and only the Bruno Malfacine?
Yeah.
Guys, we're recording this on Valentine's Day. Bruno Malfacine, he just peeled apart Jaziri Matsuda from Cattell Kubis, who's the kickboxing coach at ATT.
Okay.
She just put a post today. It's love, love. When you know, you know. She was married.
Oh.
Now she's with Bruno, posting him publicly. Bruno's like 5'2".
This all gets interesting. I love it.
Oh my goodness, some drama in the ATT camp. Good for you, Bruno. Good for you.
Good for you.
That's a haul right
Hey,
there.
there's some other weird. Who are the brothers down in Florida? Not the Vincente brothers. Is it jiu-jitsu? The one that Tom Brady's wife ran off with. Who is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a jiu-jitsu coach. It was her jiu-jitsu instructor. I forget which. I know you know the name. If I said it, I would remember it. But yeah, she was training jiu-jitsu with him, and then they went to like some vacation to train jiu-jitsu together, and then now she ran off with her jiu-jitsu instructor.
That's how it happens.
From Tom Brady.
You know what's funny is it was like Bruno, Jaziri, and then Mackenzie Dern were always going on those cruises together.
Yeah.
They were doing the jiu-jitsu cruise vacations, and all of a sudden, it's love. You know when.
Man, this is why you don't hang out with.
Don't go on cruises.
Nope, don't go on cruises.
You always fall in love.
All right, who's up next? Valente, yeah, okay, yeah. There's the Valente Brothers Jiu-Jitsu down in Florida, I forget. Yeah. And thank you, Cole, to our producer over there who's coming up with knowledge. This is why we needed a producer. This is it, Cole.
I don't keep up on pop culture. I just saw this today.
Pop culture. This is like national news. It's Tom Brady related. Damn it. All right, what do you got?
All right, next up we have Jim Miller and Alex Hernandez.
Thoughts?
Man, this is a tough.
First of all, Jim Miller is 389 years old. He's 39. He fought on UFC 100.
Oh my God.
He fought on UFC 200, and he is trying to fight on UFC 300 as well. He has the most fights of any UFC fighter in the history of the promotion, and he is riding a 3-fight win streak. Man, dude, good hats off to you, Jim Miller.
Well, if you talk about an ultra vet, the guy is the ultimate ultra vet.
Yeah, no, he is the most ultra vet.
He's literally
by definition, he is
number one. And then that takes me to a weird spot in this fight. Well, first of all, what weight is this? Is this at
55?
55.
Yeah, Alex Hernandez decided that the cardio of Billy Q at 145 pounds was not what he wanted. No, I actually believe he took this kind of short notice.
Very short notice. So
yeah.
This one's tough because we know the recipe with Alex Hernandez. You and I have talked about him a million times. He comes out hot. He swings. Lately, he's been trying to be really calculated. He kind of went back to swinging hard against Billy Q, tired himself out. Billy Q wore him down and then finished him. Right, kind of like hit the point in the fight where he stopped. My thing is can Jim Miller's chin hold up? Can his athleticism hold up? And I think the weight cut will be less of a factor for Alex here. I think he'll have a little bit more gas. I want to go Jim Miller here. I really want to go Jim Miller here. Give him the ultra vet lesson. Stay out of the striking just enough where he can grapple, wrestle, force Alex to work. But for some reason, I feel like this is Alex fight now. I think the power, the speed, the athleticism is going to be too much for Jim. And honestly, you've probably said that about Jim Miller the last 50 fights that he's had, and he always finds a way to prove us wrong. Nicholas Mata, I thought was going to kill Jim Miller.
I'll have to go back and look. I feel like I was on the Jim Miller train.
I think you
on
were.
some of those.
I
think
was
on the Eric Silva or Eric Gonzalez, whatever it was beforehand.
Yeah.
I feel like I was on the Jim Miller train the last couple fights.
And I think this is where it ends, at least for me. This is going to be a no-touch fight for me. I love Jim Miller. I want Jim Miller to win. I'm not the biggest Alex Hernandez fan, but that first and second round is a lot. And Jim has been chinned a few times in the last few fights, and I think Alex is probably one of the better people that he's fought as of late.
Yeah, Jim Miller, what he does really well is his low kick, that left inside low kick, and calf kicks in general. Jim Miller's a southpaw. His left low kick, and then he will bring that middle kick up as well, which is going to bother Hernandez a bit. He's got a beautiful right hook. I mean, he throws a lot of straight lefts as a southpaw. He does a really good job combining his left kick with his left straight and kind of mixing them up. The left straight is almost exclusively to disguise the left kick, and his kick is much better. Miller's punch that is the best is his right hook. I really like his right hook. We saw it it might have been his last fight or the fight beforehand. He floats that left straight out there, ducks down a little bit, and comes in with a big lead hook beautifully. He really does mix that well. The other thing he does is he's kind of square. He kind of has a square stance, which you see more often in southpaws than I think we see in orthodox fighters. I don't know why.
Yeah, that is a really weird thing. You ever notice in basketball, like people who shoot left-handed are always so janky looking? And it's like, why? Like,
yes.
They have the same thing on the other side, but they always shoot.
It's reciprocal mechanics, and it's not. It's not like they're not asymmetrical. I mean, they're not symmetrical. It's not like
even look at Juancamilo, like the very first. He is so square. He's southpaw. He's so squared up.
They do a thing. Watch a lot of southpaws. Is they disassociate their upper and lower bodies. Like their upper bodies are almost facing you while their lower bodies are angled in. It's
even
weird.
When I go southpaw, I do that same thing.
Everyone, I mean, I know I do it. Everybody, I don't get it. But Jim Miller does cover well, and he doesn't stay in the pocket. He covers and he moves. Jim Miller's weakness, of course, he slows. He fades out a little bit after round one. He's usually pretty good. About halfway through round two, he starts to fade. I always thought Jim Miller was a much better wrestler than he is.
Yeah.
His defensive wrestling is not great, and wrestling tires him out quite a bit.
You watch the old Vince Pichel
fight, yeah. And then the Joe Selecki fight as well.
Yeah.
So he puts him on his back. The other thing, though, is Alex Hernandez's offensive wrestling is not very good. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it's not technical. It's either he blasts a double or he runs it to the cage and doesn't get it. And we saw it with the Billy Q. He wrestles more than you would expect him to wrestle, considering how much wrestling tires him out and how little technique he has in the wrestling department. That said, I think there's a learning curve with everything. He went to Factory X as an ape and was just swinging for the fences, and then he tried to get a little too technical, but his technique wasn't there yet. And so he pulled the power away to go technique, but the technique wasn't there. He actually looked really good against Billy Q, but Billy Q has pressure that will just break you, man. He looked really good, really fast jab. I didn't think he was as wide and as loopy in that kind of Factory X style of wideness that we see a lot. I love Jim Miller, but I really like Alex Hernandez here. I think even if it goes to a decision, I think the volume and the speed of Hernandez is going to be the difference. And I think they're both going to slow down, so we're not going to see this big cardio crash with him like we saw with the Billy Q fight. My only worry whatsoever here is a couple middle kicks from Jim Miller that land and kind of change the tide of Alex Hernandez on that liver side. But I like Hernandez here quite a bit.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes me feel better about being on the Alex Hernandez side. Because I want to, like, in theory, you want to like Jim Miller, just the cardio thing. But I'm like, he's not a marathon runner either.
And Hernandez is losing to much better opposition. Jim Miller is fighting like guys off of Contender Series last
The Mata
night.
one was good because I do think Mata is actually very good.
He is, but he's a 45er who moved up on short notice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. All right. Next up, we have your favorite, Willie Knight and Marcin Prachnio.
Okay, so off camera, you guys, I just made a deal with Brandon. I said that I will take Will Knight down from the best fighter on the planet if he also does the same with Jimmy Crute.
How bizarre was that performance? The
It's not
dude's
bizarre
getting
at
knocked
all.
out. He's out on his feet, still walking forward with his hands down, he's throwing head kicks from a foot away.
Look,
He's like trying to do the splits in the air while getting rocked.
technique and athleticism are different, man.
That's
and Jimmy
crazy.
Crute has all the technique in the world, little arms, zero athleticism. And you want to know what's funny is after the fight, we said on the podcast, you guys go back and listen. We said speed kills Jimmy Crute. I said Jimmy Crute is so slow, it kills me. But Alonzo Menafield is no speed demon over there.
All Menafield did was throw 1s and 2s.
That's and very slowly at that.
Slow, and he still got him.
After the fight, Crute said in the interview that Alonzo Menafield's speed gave him trouble. And it's like, whoa, okay, so, huh? So anyway, man, I said it in the last pod. I said, look, Jimmy Crute is good. He's supposed to win this fight. I'm not sold on him. I'm still not sold on him. I'm a little bit more sold on Will Knight. Like, huh?
Me too.
What? Huh?
Me too.
What?
Hey, first of all, also, I got to acknowledge the watch.
Oh, I threw it on.
I love that for
old
the
boy
pod.
on.
You got dressed up. I remember years ago, I had always dreamed of a nice watch, and you're like, I will never buy a watch. My wife bought me a watch. It was a very nice one. I'll never buy a watch. And oh, how times
I don't know if
have
I
changed.
said
yeah, how
never.
times have changed.
Never.
I would
mean,
never
I
waste
just-
money on one of those.
I mean, you know, I need to know the time.
What kind of watch is that?
It's IWC.
IWC. Okay, you love Tom Brady. You cannot get Tom Brady's balls out of your mouth.
No, I mean, that's the only reason why I bought an IWC. Otherwise, I would have bought like a Timex or something. Like
Tom
Just
Brady,
say-
the face of Timex, and you're going to come in with a wrist full of them.
Will Knight is fighting Marcin Prachnio, who is so weird to me. Like sometimes he looks the part. This weird karate style, really fast high kicks. He'll switch stances. He goes all over the place. Really fast high kicks. Really good low kicks too. When he throws his right low kick, he does a lot of damage. His hands are almost non-existent, but he does move well, and he's got good cardio. And his takedown defense isn't great, but he'll work to get back up, and do it. Will Knight is man. His last fight, do you know what he weighed in for his last fight?
240.
Well, hold on. I got to qualify this even more. He was fighting at 205, and then him and Maxim Grishin fought. Will Knight missed weight, weighed in at 218. That's a 13-pound miss, okay? Then the following fight after that, he weighed in at 251. He almost weighed in at the max of heavyweight, and he is like 5'4". They list him at 5'10", but I'm saying he's 5'4". But now he's going back to 205. Even if he misses weight, the amount of cardio that I assume he's going to be doing has got to be through the roof.
Just to make
So
it.
that alone makes me happier about his cardio, that he's not going to be 250. Even if he misses by 15 pounds and he's 220, like it's better than being 250. Will Knight, look, he is a little apish in the sense where, like, I don't know that he really knows how he's going to win a fight. But he's not bad. Like, he throws his high kicks. He throws really good bombs, power-wise. I don't like how he rocks back, and but hey, it's not the end of the world. And his wrestling isn't amazing, but it's not bad. We saw even with Maxim Grishin, he got beat up that whole fight. He lost every moment of that damn fight. But even in the third round, he caught a kick, turned it into a single leg, inside tripped him, dumped him. Like, he does a lot of the right stuff. He took Alonzo Menafield down. Menafield just like bridged and rolled him right over. And Will Knight took his, almost like Derek Lewis style, just kind of laid there, was nice and calm, and then exploded, got up, and took his back. He does a lot of good stuff. And then Prachnio, his cardio is good. He knows to get up off of
Is it good?
It's not bad.
He was dying in
it's
the
not
Lins
bad.
fight.
He was dying. Well, his cardio is good until it's bad. Like, it's weird. Like, he does, and it's not like you see him fade. It's like he kind of like, he has two really, really solid rounds in him, and then
Yeah.
he falls off a cliff. Like, it's kind of, like, you don't see him like fade in and fade in. Like, he'll explode and get up and expend the energy to not be on his back and to try, and then it dumps off. So I don't know if that's good fight IQ by using that to get up, or bad fight IQ because knowing you don't have the cardio to keep doing it. I like Will Knight here. I think he's going to press forward. I think Prachnio, he's got the win against Khalil Roundtree in the UFC, but Roundtree decides to stay on the outside with people, and that was where he went wrong here. And even that Ike Villanueva win, Ike was marching him down, and Prachnio couldn't do anything to him but cover up and kind of get swarmed on until he ended up, I think it was low kicks. No, it was a middle kick. Blast him with that. But Ike Villanueva, I do not think is amazing at all. I think if Will Knight just walks him down, marches him down, presses him, he's going to find a way to win, whether it be a decision or even a elbow knockout, something kind of crazy like that from the clinch. I like Will Knight here. I'm not off the Will Knight train yet.
I'm going to join you on the Will Knight train here. I just think first of all, the chin thing is like one of the worst things that we've seen. Just the way that he leans back, it's one of the worst, but it's going to require a big power puncher to catch it.
You said puncher. That's exactly it.
And Prachnio's
a kicker who throws fast karate kicks, but it's not blasting kicks left and right.
Yeah, and he swings. He's intimidating. You don't want to step in the pocket with him. He's very intimidating the way that he throws. He's big. He's strong. He fights hard for 3 rounds. He grinds. He's in your face. For some reason, I've always thought the UFC was trying to set up Prachnio to be somebody, and I just, he's fought the who's who. He's fought tough guys. I've somehow, some way like Will here, and I like Will to get it done grappling. I think Will's submission's not off the table here.
He's a good grappler.
He's not bad.
Especially for how big. I think the reason why I like him is because you see his body. He looks like a body, just this muscled up juice head. So you expect him to do nothing but swing and then gas out. And he actually will swing, then he'll shoot, and then he'll wrestle. He has good jiu-jitsu. Like for the way that he is built, I like his technical skill set. So, all right. We like Will Knight here. What is next? What do we got?
Okay, next up we have Josh Parisian and Jamall Pogues.
Okay, tell us. Go.
Yeah, I already have a pretty big play on this one. So after the event was over and I got crushed on this Australia card, I said, fuck this. I'm putting in a big play. So I put in a good size play on Jamall Pogues. I got minus 193, and I believe he's minus 240 now. So we beat the line by a little bit. I'm happy with that. I think he's got a good jab. He's got insane athleticism. I think his last fight he was messing around too much. He was eating a lot of leg kicks. I didn't love that. But I think his distance management, his striking is so clean. It's so good, especially for someone that size. And, his last fight,
I thought he looked a little stiff, and he went up to heavyweight. He was a 205er, and now he's at heavyweight, and you can tell that belly is a little fuller.
It is a little fuller, but then he's fighting Josh Parisian, whose belly is always full.
Who's a beer belly. He's got a keg belly.
Yeah, falls off a cliff. Josh Parisian pushed through against Alan Badeau. I don't think he can do the same thing here. I think Jamall Pogues is a way better fighter, way more athletic, way better camp, way better everything than Badeau is, and that was a close fight. And Parisian was on death's door a few times. I like Pogues here. I like Pogues inside the distance. I think this is a great fight for him.
I agree with you. When I watched Pogues' last fight, he didn't look great to me. His head didn't move at all. He was so stiff. He was so heavy on that lead leg that I was like, what is this dude doing? But he's really fast, really athletic, moves really well. Then you go back every fight prior to his last fight, and his head's moving. He's like, good in his hips, lateral. I mean, everything is kind of good. I don't know what it was about that last fight. He just kind of stood there, hands up, stiff as a board. But his wrestling's good. His cardio's good. He's kind of lean and tall and lean for a heavyweight, if that even is a thing. Yeah, Parisian does have a good low kick. He'll throw that good blast low kick. And then other than that, they're heavyweights. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
If you're not going the anything can happen route, I think it's Pogues all day long.
All right. I think his distance management is so good to alleviate a little bit of that anything.
And his cardio is good too.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, we have Zach Pauga and the legend Jordan Wright.
This is another OSP fight for me. Like, I can't. Again, can Jordan Wright go on there and start anybody in the first 3 minutes? Absolutely. Like, the dude's wild and athletic and fast and cool. And then we're done. Like, that's it, folks. Like, that's it. He beat Jamie Pickett, who is, not, like, who doesn't do anything but push you against the fence. Pauga is good. he's good. He's good everywhere. He is a little hittable because he's a little square, and that worries me against Jordan Wright right off the bat. Like that kind of worries me on a technical level. He needs to narrow his shoulders up a little bit and height his face. I like him. I like him here. Just he's got to be careful that first couple of minutes, but he does everything well. He got clipped against Usman
in a fight he was winning.
In a fight he was winning. That was just, hey man, stuff happens. And that was at heavyweight, right? Is this now at light heavyweight?
Oh, yes, I believe you're right.
So I think that's going to be a big deal. I think the power factor is. I think he was always a light heavyweight. He just went up to heavyweight for the show.
Yeah, it was just for the show because he's fought a lot of times on the regional scene too.
Yes, so I like Pauga here. I really.
His fight doesn't go?
Of course it doesn't go. Like it's Jordan Wright. Like Pauga inside the distance. I think Pauga round 2 is probably a solid one, but Pauga inside the distance is probably.
Yeah, the second Jordan gets hit, he's just kind of like, all right, cool. He's like my mover.
I'm out.
He's just like, all right, I'm done.
Yep.
No more. I like Pauga. I think he does have the big Islander chin. I think he's got good power. He does a lot of things well, moves really well. I think skill for skill, it's not even a close debate at all. It's just, that first few minutes of fury. But let's be honest, he got Jamie Pickett and he got Ike Villanueva. Like, I think we're going to be okay here with Pauga. If you're worried, the fight doesn't go under 2.5, under 1.5. I think we're going to be fine here. I like Pauga.
Yeah, I think it's easy peasy, boys and girl.
All right, and then that takes us to the main event. Jessica Andrade and Erin Blanchfield.
The fight everyone's been waiting for.
Clamoring for.
Going for it. You guys, before we get there, of course, check out the Discord. Like and share. Subscribe. Brandon, take it away.
I'm going to go Erin Blanchfield.
Why?
Well, I understand. I need to go back and watch Andrade's last fight. This is the one fight I didn't get to. I love Erin Blanchfield. I think she's got tenacity. I think her striking, although not traditional, is very funky, and it keeps people off their rhythm. She's always kind of having something in the way of her and her opponent. Just something to block, hit off the forearms, and then she initiates the grappling. And I think in the grappling, we saw this in her last few fights, her grappling is just so good. Her wrestling is funky, but it's good. She does that same thing we kind of talk about where she'll shoot in for the takedown, head on, and then doesn't get it, and she starts climbing around the outside. And she is such a clean, good wrestler. So I think the explosive hips, the power of Andrade, she's going to swing. Erin's going to do enough to frame, stay safe. And then I think she gets in on the legs, and I think Andrade will defend 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. But it's the 4th, 5th, and 6th attempts that finally gets her down. And then once Erin's on top, I think that's it.
Her top game is mean.
It is mean. She's got great control. And this is something we've talked about. We said this a little bit, and I always use the Angela Hill as a reference, right? When she fought Virna Jandiroba, and then when she fought Lupe Godinez, right? Lupe is a wrestler with no jiu-jitsu, and Virna's a jiu-jitsu with no wrestling. But when Virna get her down, she stays down.
Yep.
When Lupe gets her down, nope, she's right back up. No problem, right? And that's the difference. But what I think is special about Erin Blanchfield is she's a little bit of the two. She's not like a Sarah McMahon, like Olympic silver medalist wrestler, like blast doubles and single leg high crotch, but she's almost like I don't know if I can make this make sense. To me, she's like a Ronnie Yaya. Like she kind of just does whatever it takes to get it to the ground. But then once she gets you there, she is amazing. She takes back. She transitions so well. She just looks so clean and fluid off the top. And if Andrade doesn't get her out of there with the punches early, I see her dragging her and dragging her and dragging her, and those thick hips staying pinned to the mat. So I know this sounds crazy just athleticism-wise, but I like Erin Blanchfield, and I think she's got swag. She reminds me of JDM, just how much swag she has, and she's not worried. She accepted a fight with Jessica Andrade, former champion, on a week's notice?
Yeah.
After she's already been in shape, she knows Andrade is not out of shape.
Yep. And she would have had first right of refusal because she's the main event. She would have been able to turn that fight down if she wanted.
So somebody knows something, and it's probably Erin Blanchfield.
We know Blanchfield because Tracy Cortez fought her. That's actually Blanchfield's only loss in a very, very, very close fight.
I love you, TC, but I would have given that to Blanche.
Blanchfield is tough. That's what I always think of when. And all right, I got to disclaim. When I say, usually I say that's the biggest gosh, I can't even think right now. Like it's a horrible thing to be called tough. Like usually I say it's, with her, she's not tough. I don't think she is mean. When I say, I don't mean like, oh, she's tough. She takes a beating and she won't die and blah, blah. I mean like.
She kind of does that too, but also.
She is tough like that, but she is mean. Her elbows and her knees, and she throws down. It's funny because in my head, I'm with you 100% on the Blanchfield stuff. The smart logic goes Andrade wins.
Been in the game.
Yep, Andrade wins. Smart logic last week meant Makhachev wins, and I'm like, no, it's Volk. It's gonna. I'm trying to be a contrarian here.
At least these are the same size.
Yes, exactly. And I am the worst at main events. You give me 12 fights on a card, I could get all 11 undercards right. I'm so bad on main events. I want to go with you on every single thing that you say. Like everything you say, I'm like, yes. The upset is there. I love it. And then the smart thing is to say Andrade. I mean, we saw what she did. Was it Lauren Murphy last?
But come on.
I know that's true.
Come on.
That's true.
They're not in the same universe.
I'm with you. I want to go. I want to say Blanchfield, and then I'm like, gosh, I always make this mistake of trying to go. I'll go Blanchfield with you.
All right.
I'll go Blanchfield.
We're riding.
Yeah, we're riding.
We're riding for our girl Blanche.
Yep. I tried. I'm always trying to do it. At one point, it's going to pay off, and I'm like, see, guys, look. If I just keep playing dogs long enough, I'll look smart once, and I'll just keep.
Well,
you
know when we got this,
dog.
this was like a legendary one when Giga was fighting Cater beginning of last year.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, no, Cater's
gonna. Was he a dog on that?
Yeah.
Oh, was he? Okay, that one I got. I got that dog on a main event. It's been probably like a year and a half since I've gotten. I'm the worst on main event, guys. This is the week, guys.
In this case, bet a white. I'm a bet a white.
All right, you guys. It's been real. We'll see you next time. Hopefully, what do we have? We have John Jones coming up with our dear Kamwela Kirk on the undercard.
We'll be out there March 4th. So come say hi. Take me out to dinner. Take us out to dinner.
We'll be up there all week. So holla at your boys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.